Greetings and welcome to an LGR thing that is probably shoddily made and not really edited, but that's going to be what this is. It's just sort of an impromptu Q&A session of sorts because you've asked a lot of Q's and I have some A's. And this is stemming directly from the comments in a recent video where I showed my storage solution for LGR and kind of how that works. And I thought it was a pretty simple premise. Maybe it's a little too simple though, because it seemed to bring up more questions than it did answers for some of you. So let's try and make it more clear. So I, in that video, showed this room here, which is where I store a lot of the stuff that I have for LGR that are ongoing projects, things that I have worked on, things that I hope to work on, stuff that isn't working that I'm trying to fix, and things that people put in storage. And I thought that was pretty simple. But then I also showed that I have another room, which is where I do a lot of my filming. And it's also in storage. And that's apparently a huge revelation that I don't film in my house. But, some of people are saying, oh, the illusion is broken, but I don't know where that illusion came from. It must be a self-imposed one because I never said that I film in my house. Although I am doing that right at this moment. This room is in my house. So if you've ever seen, the white shelves and things like that, then this is in my home office. And then I also have a capture computer over there, which I've kind of shown a little bit before, and my editing station's over there too. So this is just a little 10 by 10 room that I do a lot of my work in, mostly editing and capturing. When I'm scripting, I tend to go out, honestly, even just do a coffee shop or, mostly coffee shops and do a lot of research and editing, not editing, research and scripting, editing scripts on my laptop. And that is something that stemmed directly from having a lot of trouble keeping work and home life separate. And that's the entire reason, well, the biggest reason that I have this separation between my storage and my home. This is a dedicated home office space that I'm in right now. This little room, this is all I have to do my work in my house because it's a small house. It's like 850 square feet. And, I got a bedroom, I got this office, my living room, and a kitchen. Oh, and there's a bathroom in there somewhere. But they're all pretty small, so I keep everything in here. And it's also good for tax purposes because here in the U.S., if you're self-employed, you claim your work in a business, you have an area that you work in, but it has to be strictly for work. And so, that's claimed on your taxes. And so that's what this is. This is a dedicated room. The thing is, I just don't have a big enough house to have other dedicated rooms for my collection and stuff. And yeah, I know it sounds a little cynical or greedy or something to refer to my collection as part of my business, but that's just the fact of the matter of it these days. YouTube is all I do. This is my job. So everything that's related to it as far as the collection and, making all those videos on these vintage computers and games and stuff, it's all part of the business, and it's been that way for years. This is nothing really new, but maybe to some of you that's a weird revelation or something because you thought, oh, I'm just a guy that has a cool house full of stuff. And I used to, but it drove me crazy. It absolutely drove me crazy. And not because I'm losing a passion for collecting or it doesn't mean the same. Well, it doesn't mean the same anymore, but that's just a fact of things got weird in my head. So basically a couple of years ago, I was not doing well. And honestly, if you look at the videos from that time, you can kind of tell, nothing really serious. It's just that I was working so much at making this happen so that I could get financially stable. And, I started Patreon, which helped a lot. And, but, advertising revenue and all these things on YouTube are always so weird. So I was working so much, started doing 2 videos a week. And, it was kind of an adjustment period because before that I'd worked, other normal jobs, retail and stuff like that for years. And, it's different. When you're working retail and you're done for the day, you go home, right? You don't stay in the store. Well, for me, I felt like I was staying in the store 24/7 and I was working from, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. It was not good. And even if I was away from work, I'd go away just out for groceries and I'd be there with my phone the whole time, barely paying attention to what I'm doing, checking comments, reading emails, doing research, thinking. And I realized by talking to some other YouTube friends and just researching and thinking about it for a while myself that I needed some real separation between work and home life because it wasn't working and I was working myself silly. And that's partly my own fault. I like to work when the work is good, and this is this is my favorite thing in the world, honestly. Doing this stuff, playing with old computers, playing old games, doing research, history, making videos, sharing it with people. That is my favorite thing. So I figured, you know what? If I'm going to keep doing this and make this work for my life, like my career, or at least this point in my life, then I've got to make some changes. So I did. I moved out. I got this place, which is smaller. And then, but before that even, I ended up getting those storage areas over there. And that is a business storage solution. And there were some people asking about, like, how does it have power, and what do you do about humidity and all this stuff? Well, it's climate controlled, it's got electricity, it's got 24/7 security, it's got all sorts of things, because it is a business storage unit and is made for professionals and small business owners. So that's why I sought it out. And I had some other people being like, oh, it's a shame to have such a collection over there and it's just locked away and you never see it. But that's not the case. I'm over there every single day almost, at least every couple of days. It depends on what I'm working on. Obviously I have some things here, but most of my collection's over there. So I go over there to, play the games. I go over there to film the games. I go over there to do intros and outros, do things like Oddware. Art is almost completely over there, but other things I'm doing here at home or out somewhere else, just to sort of get in my head that, okay, I'm in work mode now. If I'm in this office, if I'm over in my storage, or I'm out at a coffee shop with my work laptop, that's all that laptop is for, then that's when I'm in work mode. And it helps so much to be able to come home and be like, I'm home now. Which is still the same building in this case, but the living room, my bedroom, my kitchen, a dining room, for the most part. I do LGR Foods in the kitchen, but I have a food channel, by the way. Did you not know that? I do. I started that not long ago. It was just something kind of fun. It's not making any money. It's just fun. But yeah, so if I'm doing something outside of these rooms, then it's like I'm not working. I feel my head clear, and maybe that's just weird, but it works for me. And if I had a really big house, I would love to have my collection nearby, because as it is now, it's not far. It's like half a mile away. I'm really close to the storage units, which is why I chose them. And also partly why I chose this house. But yeah, like I'm trying to make my life work as good as I can while keeping the passion going. And honestly, this has helped. I think my videos in the past couple of years, I've found the excitement again. I've found all the cool, the happiness and the joy of old computers and technology and history and nostalgia and all these cool things that I want to turn into videos that are exciting and fun to watch and hopefully entertaining and educational and all that. So this is all part of an ongoing process. I'm still figuring it out, but that's why I have storage, in the long and short of it, I guess. Oh, there were also some people asking, because I mentioned that I was giving away, or, I just gotten rid of a bunch of stuff in storage and sent it to Goodwill. They're like, why aren't you giving it to me? Well, besides the fact that there's like 8 million people that watch me every month now, it'd be hard to single out individual folks, even with a giveaway. Giveaways are tough, man. You got more tax things to worry about and legal stuff that I don't know. I'm not keen on giveaways yet. I'd like to do them at some point. But even then, this is not stuff I'm going to give away. It's not even stuff that's valuable to me. That's why I'm giving it to Goodwill. I buy so much stuff there, it's like, may as well give it back. So I gave away some lamps. I gave away some jewel cases without any artwork in them. Some PCI cards nobody wants from like 2003, modems and stuff. And some clothes, a whole lot of clothes. And, oh yeah, some old car magazines from the past few years, because I have a bunch of subscriptions to magazines. And I don't keep them typically because, whatever, the stuff is online now. So yeah, it's not like I was giving away stuff that you donated to me. I would not do that. If I'm gonna like come to a point where I have been donated something and I don't want it anymore, I'm gonna probably ask the person, if they want it back, or, if it's okay if I give it away, to somebody else, like another YouTuber or something. I've done that before. But yeah, I'm not just, taking in your stuff and giving it back to Goodwill, or putting my stuff in Goodwill and then going and thrifting it back. There's a lot of people that made that accusation, like, oh, no wonder you find so much cool stuff at Goodwill. You're putting it there yourself. That makes no sense, but thanks for the conspiracy anyway. It kind of cracked me up. No, I'm giving away stuff I don't want, so I'm not going to go back and, buy it again. Yeah. Well, anyway, I hope this clears up some of the confusion, if there even was confusion for you. If not, then maybe this is just another insight into how I work. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty much my process. I wake up usually around 8 or 9 in the morning. I get my coffee. I come in here and check out, all my emails and comments and stuff from the night before, which is a lot. So that's a few hours, and then I'll go out usually to get coffee or a lunch or something, and I bring my laptop and start checking out the new, the news or like something I can talk about. Researching. A lot of research goes into this. In fact, most of what I do is research. But when I'm not doing that, I come back home or go over to my storage after that and start doing like the nitty gritty filming and setting up and all the stuff. Game capture. I do a lot of game capture just sitting right here. But I like to spread out my life just a little bit so I don't go crazy. And I was starting to get there, and I've known some other producers that burned out, and I don't want to do that, man. It's just not a cool feeling to feel trapped by your own work, which was so fun at one point, and then it starts to get really crappy because that's all you do. That's all you do. It can turn into some really crippling loneliness and also some really crippling like self-hate and self-doubt and a lot of other things where, I was doing things and having nights that weren't good. And so, I made it happen to where that, thankfully, I'm fortunate enough that I can afford to have a business storage area. And sure, I could invest that in a bigger house, and maybe if I get the money, I will do that someday. But, that's why I have Patreon. And Patreon pays for all of that storage. And it pays for really what is effectively my studio over there because I have my lights and my setups and the hardware, and that's it's part of my shtick. It all counts as a part of a business, and it's also, some of it is a tax write-off as well, like this office. So it makes sense, and self-employment is weird sometimes and expensive because like 30% of all that I make goes to the government, more or less. Just did taxes, so that's heavily weighing on my mind. Good grief, that was interesting. I didn't even know about like quarterly taxes when I started this a few years ago. That was a rude awakening, man, let me tell you. But I don't know. I guess I'm just rambling now. But anyway, I hope that this proved interesting and that the illusion is not so broken that you can't watch anymore because I really like what I'm doing and I have a lot of fun doing it. And there were some people asking too, like, do you even play games for fun anymore? Not as much, because usually if I'm playing something, it's for a video, simply because that's the reality of this. But that's also why I don't cover as many games anymore, too. Well, one reason, anyway. The other reason is that a lot of people don't watch them. I'm trying to pick the games that I cover more carefully these days, because there's some games that are just going to do really, really well, and others that are not. Edutainment Month is sort of an exception. I just like covering edutainment, whether or not people watch or not. But thankfully this year, I think I picked some good games. Mavis Beacon did well. Got picked up by some websites, so that was cool. But yeah, it's not just all business to me. It's not just all about money or all about having stuff. Like, that's just been a side effect of all these things that have snowballed before I even realized it. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to be professional-ish, and I'm trying to make things work so that life finds a way. So, cool. Yeah. Something. Thanks for watching. Where's the camera? There it is. Bye.